Hey, Trip Kramer here from tripadvice.com, and next to me I have Emmy 2, and Mike Fasolo. Mike Fasolo is one of the writers on the popular show Robot Chicken on Adult Swim, and he has won 2 Emmys for his comedy writing. Two-time
Emmy winner.
What's the joke you always make when someone asks you if they say you're an Emmy winner? What do you say?
Two-time.
You always correct someone and says,
yes.
2 times. See, that's funny.
2.
Yes, that's funny. So I have Mike here today to help explain, honestly, one of the hardest topics ever. And I have a couple of videos on this subject, but I feel like there's more to dive into. And I thought I gotta have a guest on here, someone who knows comedy, to help explain how to be funny so you can make girls laugh. So Mike, why is it so difficult to explain how to be funny?
Because comedy is subjective. So something that's funny to you, someone else might find offensive or just not funny at all.
Right.
So, whipping out a joke for someone that you think is hilarious, they might just nod it off and be like, well, I don't care at all. It's not funny.
Right. Everyone has a different sense of humor. Yeah. So I think with that, when you're trying to be funny, you don't know what you're going to get. Some people will laugh, some people won't. So I always say that if you want to be funny, you got to make yourself laugh first. Like, that's the most important thing. Like, if you're not saying something that's funny to you, you're not going to deliver it in a way that's going to be funny, and no one's going to probably think it's funny because you're not thinking it's funny. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
And it's not fun.
No. This video, not so funny.
Not so funny.
Not yet. All right, so let's get into some ways to be funny. Now, of course, this is not going to resonate with everyone. Everyone, like I said, has a different sense of humor, but what's one way to be funny? What's an example of one type of humor?
You can draw from movies, TV, things that you found amusing that, one of the characters did or said. And that'll usually hit something with somebody you're talking to.
So what would be an example of a movie that you like that you reference from time to time?
So I love referencing Dumb and Dumb. That's always a great movie. It spans the generations, the first one.
I love that movie.
Great.
I think I use references on that all the time.
Yeah.
What's one that you like?
They're easy to pull out. Probably the first time you see the Jim Carrey character.
Yeah.
When he's pretending that he's riding in a limo instead of driving it.
Yeah.
And he talks to some of the girls out on the street from, I believe they were from Austria.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, we were from Austria. And he goes, oh, I'll throw another shrimp on the bobby.
Yeah.
Just, completely got it wrong. But it's just something
Because Austria's not Australia.
Australia.
If I have to explain that.
With the great accent.
Right.
I did.
Right.
And it's just fun, it's easy, it's stupid, and you can just bring it out whenever.
Right. Another one I like, we were talking about this earlier from the movie, is when he's talking to the girl and he's like, what are the chances of a girl like you? And he always says, what are the chances of a boy like you and a girl like me ever getting together? So that's funny right there. And then, just because it's silly, she goes, not good. He's like, not good like 1 out of 100, and she's like, more like 1 out of 1,000,000. And then he goes, so you're telling me there's a chance? Yes! Right? So, you could use that humor in a time where, I don't know, you don't have a chance for something, or something like that, and you can call back and go, so you're telling me there's a chance, right? I mean, so many movies, anything you find funny, whether it's something to reference, just throw it out there, and the beauty of reference humor is, even though it's not your joke, the fact that you were quick enough and witty enough to reference it in a conversation automatically gives you the credit for being funny, even though it's not your joke. All right, what's another example of being funny?
The callback is always a good one.
Callback.
Yes. So when you're having a conversation with somebody and something funny or even mildly amusing happens,
Okay.
and then the conversation continues and could be hours, days later, you can be talking to that same person and bring back the reference to what happened in the first conversation, and it makes everyone laugh.
Right, so it's almost similar to the last one, where in this case it's another reference. You're just referencing or calling back something that was funny, and the fact that you're calling it back, again, makes you very witty, and it's funny because you're just bringing back that same joke.
And it also shows that you were paying attention to what was being said.
Yes.
Girls like that.
Girls will like you paying attention. So there's another good tip that you were telling me earlier about being funny. You're saying something about the guy or girl that's in your group of friends that's funny. What were you saying with that?
If you have someone in your group of friends who's funny, and there's always somebody who's very witty, very quick,
Yeah.
they'll be able to pull out one-liners or jokes just right on the fly. And if you can copy them and use their references or their jokes in another group or another group of girls that you're trying to talk to, it makes you seem like you're the funny one, even though you're completely stealing their material.
But like you said,
We're in Hollywood, so that's what happens out here a lot.
that's what happens in Hollywood. Everyone's stealing.
So it's just a good little thing to do. I mean, it's very simple. You just pay attention to what they're saying,
Yeah.
and find out what they think is funny and what they use to make their group of friends laugh, and then you just use it in another situation.
But I want to add that if you're going to do this, hopefully it makes you laugh. If you're just seeing that people are laughing at that joke, you're not going to be delivering it in the way that's going to be funny because you yourself don't find it funny.
Yes, you have to find it funny.
Right. So another good example of humor is us sitting here with the Emmys just right in the middle of us.
Blatant,
Yeah, very blatant.
arrogant,
Yes. So explain to them why that's funny.
because even though it is arrogant, it's funny arrogant. It's like these are just statues to me. They're great, love having them, but they don't really mean anything.
Yeah.
Like I don't go bragging that, oh, I have these all the time.
Right.
So when you bring them out and you're like, oh, I have 2 Emmys, it's a false arrogance, and people you talk to, people who know you,
Right.
know that you're not, lording it over them, saying
Right.
that I won 2 Emmys. You're just like, yeah.
Another good example of humor is sarcasm, which is, if you do it properly, can be very, very funny. And if you don't do it properly, it can come off very mean. But either way, that's humor for you. You never know what's going to happen. But an example of that would be like if Mike showed up to a dinner party and he showed up like this, and then I say to him, Mike, thank you so much for dressing up. You didn't have to do that. And obviously, that's funny because, well, he did not dress up. But that's a good example of sarcasm.
And you have to know your audience too. Like if you said that to me, I would find it funny because it wouldn't be insulting. But if someone was very sensitive about stuff like that, then they would find that very hurtful.
Right. So when you're doing that, I mean, obviously, it's very obvious, even though whoever you are, wearing a hoodie is not dressed up. So I don't think anyone in their right mind would be like, how could they say that? This is a very nice hoodie.
This is my favorite hoodie.
When it comes to humor, really the big idea is whenever you're going to be telling a joke, you're going to be sarcastic, you're going to use callback humor, you're going to use any of these examples, it's to make your... That's kind of funny.
Usually,
Bloopers are funny. Why? Because when people make mistakes, that's funny. When people screw up, it's funny. The old slip on the banana peel. So one of the last mindsets that I think you should be having when you're trying to be funny is the idea of making yourself laugh. This is something that I've talked about in terms of the idea of entertainment. This idea of going into an interaction with the girl and making it fun for yourself. So I don't want you to be going in, talking to girls, talking to people, and desperately trying to make them laugh. It's about making yourself laugh. What can you do, or is there a moment that you're having where you can say something that you think is funny because you think it's funny? So it's not about trying to get something from them, but making yourself laugh. And you're going to find that when you do that, you're going to in turn end up making people laugh. Well, Mike, Emmy, thank you for being here. Thank you so much for dishing some advice on how to be funny, even though it is a very difficult topic to talk about. But thank you.
No, you're welcome. And if you need help on any other videos, just let me know.
I think we're going to be good for a while.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
There we go. See, callback humor. That's how you do it. Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, ladies. See you in the comments.